आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमदो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्तु अनिराकरणमस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्माः ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Hearty fraternal greetings and good wishes to all the brothers and sisters. The body is a temple of 7 lights, and that privilege is bestowed to the human. And we, step by step, kindle the lights of the temple. The mind that which we are bestowed with is the basic light. It is the candle with which one by one the other candles can be lit. The mind, the light in the mind, enables us to comprehend the objectivity, and that mind has a facility to turn inward, and of this we have elaborately understood yesterday, that as much as we use the light of mind for objective understanding, we can also develop the light of subjective mind. Since one candle is given, it should not be difficult to light the other. One lighted candle is available. It's available to the human. And the technique of lighting the other candles one by one is what is called the path of yoga. It is what is called the path of discipleship. Whatever are the practices, one after the other, the candles have to be kindled. It's enough if we kindle 4 candles. By kindling 4 candles, we are already in the Buddhic state, the 4th state being Buddhic, and by that we would have transcended the conditioning, the decay and the death of the body. That is the immediate work given or entrusted or suggested to the humanity by the hierarchy. That's immediate work. That we kindle with the help of 1 candle, 3 other candles. And thereby transcend death. That's the program. For that 1 candle is given. With the help of that candle, through appropriate training and cultivation, we should turn the mind objective also to be the mind subjective. So that's the second candle. All that the religions speak and the discipline that every religion gives, its purpose is to turn or to develop the subjective mind with the help of the objective mind. As said earlier, that is yesterday, education in modern times did not give emphasis for cultivation of subjective mind as much as it gave emphasis for development of objective mind. That is where humanity is stuck. Education, the new age, many people speak of education, value education. New age education. But seldom they speak of cultivating the subjective side of the mind, which is the basis for the objective mind. Theologians speak of a divine being who has 2 heads, one subjective, one objective. As much as we train the mind from the 5th year, to know things in the objectivity, in ancient times, according to Aryan Dharma, there was also a training for developing the subjective mind, even as a child. That is what education was intended to be. Just objective education developing objective mind may just leave us as social beings. Social beings. Today education aims at preparing social beings to be more emphatic, if not harsh, to make man a social animal. Animals are not social, they don't have societies, they don't build civilizations as we do. Objective education enable the human to be a social animal. Don't mistake me if I say that, because it is said to be Jantu in Sanskrit. Sanskrit says, Jantu naam narajanma durlabham. Among the born beings, to be born as a human is a rare opportunity. So, Jantu means the beings that hold the bodies, gross bodies, physical bodies. Among them, to be human is a privilege, a rare opportunity, and therefore a responsibility. So the ancient scriptures consider animals and social animals. Etiquette, civilization, living well in the objectivity according to an order. What man of objectivity does, contrary to what the beasts do. So it's already a step to differentiate oneself. The appetites of the animal and the appetites of the man are just the same, except that he learns to be a social being, caring for the good of the social order. And then developing enormously the society to be great civilizations, and even further, objectively growing into great proportions and dimensions. This is one side of education. It cannot be ignored. But man is endowed with a mind which is equally potential for subjective understanding and development. That training is expected to be given from the 7th year. That's a sacrament. In 5th year there is a sacrament of introducing a child to education objective. 7th year, there is a sacrament to introduce the child to the world subjective. This is what today is being done in Christianity in the 7th year as Corpus Christi or some such thing. It means that there is Christ within the corpus. There is the Son of God within, who you are, and there is also the God within. These are the two steps which are expected to be realized. A program for realizing it right from 7th year. Just like there is a program to develop into a social being, to undertake social responsibilities, there is a program initiated even in 7th year to develop the inner man, to realize that oneself is Son of God, and further realize that the Son of God is no other than the God Himself, expressed in human form. So that was original intention of the two initiation, one in the 5th year, one in the 7th year. In India, this 7th year initiation is what is called Upanayana. Which some of you who may have come to Guru Pujas may have witnessed it, and some of you have even enthusiastically taken to that sacrament. And some of you have even put your children to that sacrament. The purpose of Upanayana is to walk within. As much as you walk into objectivity, a discipline is given to walk within and find subjectivity and the beauty of this objective world, as much as concurrently you learn the beauty of objective world. As much as the objective man is developing, so much the subjective man is also intended to be developed. By about 21 to 28 years, as the objective education is complete, the subjective education is also complete. That's why in the 7th year, initiation into Gayatri is done. And Gayatri is to be worshipped as the light in the head within you, which can descend to enlighten you. So coming back to our theme, we think of subjective development when we have the first impulse to know the beyond, to know the truth. That first impulse is called first initiation. The first impulse is what brings us all together so many times and be in search of so much literature and get into practices according to one's own inclination. But the very purpose of that is to develop the subjective side, to develop the subjective side of the mind. Developing subjective side of mind is practiced by entering into subjectivity of one's own being. Entering into is what is referred to in Latin as initiation. Most of you may have seen the etymological key relating to initiation given by Madame Bailey. What is initiation? To enter into. Enter into what? Entering into oneself. How do you enter into? To enter into, there is a facility given to us by way of respiration. Through conscious inhalation, we can enter. Into the region of the heart. And we exit through exhalation. This has to be consciously worked for some time. This is what is called getting into the cave and getting out of the cave. Getting into the cave, out of the cave, when it is regularly practiced. We develop a taste for being in the cave. When we develop the taste to be at the threshold of the cave, we give more time to it. We give more time to it when we have that inclination to develop the subjective mind. And mind, without developing the subjective mind, there can be no further progress. The subjective and objective mind can also be said to be Castor and Pollux, Yakin and Boas. In Vedic wisdom they are called Jaya and Vijaya. These are the two. One has to assist the other. The objective mind, when applies itself on respiration, on a regular basis, with certain degree of continuity, from out of itself, the subjective mind develops. Did we develop subjective mind or not? The measure is the ability to sit within for long hours. How do you find long hours in a busy schedule of life? For that reason, the men of wisdom say, get up early so that you find more time. get back, conclude the day as early as possible so that you will find more time. If you close the day earlier by an hour, not extend it into midnight. If you open the day earlier than normal, you can easily find at least an hour each to be with this practice. That's how these morning, evening practices have come to be. Because during the day, we have a responsibility to the society. Therefore, when we have a responsibility to maintain this body called the temple, we have a responsibility to serve those who depend on us. So for discharge of responsibility, the day is dedicated. But as you open the day and before you close the day, if we have keen interest, we can find additional time. What is happening today is, we start the day much earlier than before. In earlier times, the objective activities was commencing after 9 and was concluding by 5. Today, people are already on the roads with their automobiles, even by 7. And they don't retire by 5 from the work. It goes on and on and on. And thereafter it goes further on with television, and goes up to the midnight. But if you have right inclination, that is what is called fiery aspiration. There has to be fire in aspiration. If there is fire in aspiration, we can always find time to do much more than what we think we can do. Time expands. There is a mantra, time expand. How does it expand? By intelligent utilization of the day, time expands. Time expands to meditate, time expands to read, time expands to write, time expands to do service, time expands to do so many things, if only we care to be very frugal in our utilization of time. So this practice, when regularly done, we find that we are, for a while, within that place which is at the threshold of the cave. The cave. Inhalation, go with it consciously. Stay there until it transforms into exhalation. If you are keen to stay there for a while, naturally the U-turn doesn't happen so fast. U-turn doesn't happen so fast. Normally at U-turn we slow down when we drive a vehicle. If there is a U-turn, you don't go at the same speed. The speed is reduced. So there can be reduction in speed before you exhale. Likewise, there can be a reduction in speed while you inhale after exhalation. This U-turn, when its duration expands, you have what is called an interlude. That's the word used by Master Jwalkul. Interlude. In that interlude, you are with the threshold of the cave. It's very interesting to be there because for the first time you find some kind of respite for your mind. It's a resting place. We crave to take rest many times, and we try to find through Google which is the best place to take rest. But the place to take rest is truly within you. Wherever you are, you just close your eyes and work slowly with respiration. You will find yourself in the rest place at the threshold of the heart. Regular practice will result in developing taste for being there as many times as possible. It's important that there is taste in doing this. Unless there is a taste for practice, practices cannot be done. Taste develops according to the degree of aspiration that we carry. If that is our aspiration, we find ways and means to be there. Don't we go to find the best shop to have a pizza or an ice cream or such other things? Or for an Indian tongue, an Indian restaurant in Europe, we try to find and be there. So like that, when you have taste, you will find. This taste for things, for this practice is what is called Shraddha. Once you taste it, then you would like to taste it more and more. That's how habits happen. Smoking, drinking, all habits have happened like that by repeated action due to taste. We are stuck with them. Same process can also be adapted to this. As a consequence, you tend to be inside daily for some time. There is no hurry to go out because you like it. So be there. And to be there, we regulate all our activity in the outer, not to be with non-essentials. Slowly, as taste develops, we lose interest in non-essentials. We attend only to the essentials, isn't it? Unless you have a taste for something deeper, we don't come out of non-essential activity, non-essential gossiping, non-essential movements into objectivity, all non-essential activity through senses gradually get regulated. Instead, you would like to do this. And on a holiday, you find more time to do it. When you sit so very regularly there and find the taste and being there, you find at the threshold of the heart, cave of heart, a kind of pulsating door, which is also of very pale golden color. So that sight interests you more and you try to be nearer to it. The more and more you relate to it on regular basis, and if you also supplement this practice with the invocation of the name of a master, that pale golden light starts giving you the warmth. It's like being at a golden threshold which generates warmth to you. That warmth is comforting. That makes you a little more deeply interested in being there. Then you get slowly warmed up. That is the first indication of the presence of the Master. The Master is intending to help you because you have that interest. Because you are keen to walk into the temple. You can invoke any name of the Master, any thought of the Master, or any image of the Master, or image which you think is divine. That's enough. A Master of Wisdom is ever ready to help such persons. Ever ready. So he also adds some more warmth besides the warmth of the threshold of the heart, cave of heart. The first experience in prayer, the first experience in any form of meditation is that you find that you are warmed up through the practice. Slowly the warmth spreads all over the body from within. From within, you are warmed up. And the entire body feels a kind of a warmth. The result of that is the latent heat in the cells of the body. They gain more heat. They gain more heat on a regular basis. When they start gaining the heat, the cells of the body, slowly the inertia which is in the cells of the body, it gets dispelled gradually. The wetness in the cells, meaning the emotion, the laziness, the indifference, all that keeps us inalert, will slowly gets evaporated due to the heat. When the cells are thus warmed up adequately, they find an interunion between the cells, cell to cell. There would be transmission of this latent heat. So the body is generally comfortable to live with. The food that you take is easily assimilated. Assimilation would not be a problem when there is such warmth in the body. Not only that, there would be disinclination to eat heavy food. The body cells do not let you take in heavy foods. See, there are so many practices which people try to do, that they should cut off their non-essential activity, which they cannot cut off. They want to take light food, but when there is some other food which is tasty to them, they jump at it. Yes. From today I decided not to eat potato, and for the afternoon, Sister Sabine makes a roasty for me. I am in conflict. For today, let me take roasty, potato roast. Like that, many times we transgress our own good intentions or resolutions, isn't it? So that's why to say I should not do this, I should not do that doesn't work. What works is if you work with this subjective light and with the help of the subjective light, develop the needed heat. Non-essential activity, slowly it falls off. Likewise, non-essential food for the body falls off. One does not become a yogi by abstaining from things which he would otherwise eat. When something develops from within, the undesirable things fall off. That's how it is. Don't do this, don't do this, that doesn't work. The religions went on saying, don't do this, don't do that. They get fed up and stop listening to it, isn't it? To a child, if you say don't do that, he will do it. Yeah. Never say what it should not do. You should tell. The seer's way is, the master way is to tell what is to be done, not to tell what should not be done. What should not be done is generally taught by a priest. What should be done is taught by a teacher. That's the difference between a teacher and a preacher. Even parents do it, isn't it? That's why children get away from the parents. Boring. Always he says these things. Tell them what they should do. Why do you tell them what they don't, what they should not do? What you should not do, why should you tell them? I have a granddaughter. If I tell her, don't do this, she will surely do it. So if I want a glass of water, I tell my granddaughter, don't bring me a glass of water. She immediately brings a glass of water. See how it is. Humanity would not like to listen what it should not do. It is willing to listen if you tell them what they need to do, what is good for them to do. Don't tell them what is bad for them. In our childhood, when we were going by the buses, the parents used to tell us, don't put your hand outside. In the trains, when we go, they used to tell us, don't put your hand outside. The immediate instinct is, let us see what happens if we put our hand outside. Otherwise, we don't get that idea to put our hand outside, You are only suggesting what people should not do, but regularly tell them what they should not do. That's not the way. No wise parent tells his child what it should not do. He can as well, or she can as well tell. That's why most mothers are not liked by children, because they all the time say what they should not do. Either father or mother who always tells what should not do, unconsciously that parent is distancing his child from himself or herself. So like that, when we get into this practice of developing subjective mind and experiencing the taste of it, due to the taste developed for being subjective, you don't do non-essential things. Instead you would like to get inside and see what is within. Enter into and see what is within. That is more interesting than trying to open a television channel and see what is there. It's not that I am against television. I do see television. Every afternoon after lunch, every night after dinner for 15 minutes, surely I'll see. Not that we avoid anything. We don't have to avoid anything. You would be moderate with everything. It's really the objective activity, you are moderate. You don't go too far and lose time and lose energy and even lose money. Why all that? So turn inward, develop this way, slowly, one by one you gain the strengths which are recommended in the books. You would not eat non-vegetarian. See, if we tell people you should not eat non-vegetarian, it's not the way. If they have that inclination, if you stop them from eating, you are causing a suppression which will spring back later. Instead, suggest a method by which they overcome this. By getting into better practices, certain undesirable practices, they are gone. When I was first coming to Europe, there were so many smokers. Today, I seldom find a smoker in our groups. I never told anyone to stop smoking. Like that, people when they are with the right practices, the undesirables, they fall off. Just like the leaves fall off from the tree during the fall season. That's the way. That is education. So let us continue with the theme that into the cells when the heat is more and more supplied by a triple activity of your being within and by being proximate to the pulsating door and with the presence of the Master. Presence means he transmits his energy. The moment you invoke, he is willing to transmit his energy. That it is transmitted is known to you as extra warmth coming from him. That's why gaining warmth is seen as the first step in meditation or in prayers. And that warmth permeates itself into the body cells. The body cells tend to be light. They come out of the inertia. More and more active one becomes. He does not look for sleeping all the time because there is activity. The body cells are active. The tendency to sleep comes down. The tendency to eat heavy things come down. The tendency to non-essential activity comes down. All this slowly come down. And concurrently with the body heat going, the cell heat growing and growing, the pranic principle which is working in us, which is the active heat, it unites with the latent heat in the cell of the body. All this work is done by the subjective side of the mind. And the subjective side of the mind gradually gets kindled. Because there is so much of activity within. It perceives. It perceives the inner happenings. That is what exactly Master CVV, for that matter any master, he says, close your eyes gently, take 3 breaths and invoke the mantra and observe the action within. The action within is the vision of the pulsating door at the cave of the heart, the golden light, the transmission of warmth and its permeation into the body cells. That's why if after every prayer you tend to be lighter than before, you feel light, you don't feel so heavy with yourself after a prayer. You tend to be lighter than before in terms of weight. And there is warmth in the body. These are all the measures by which one can understand that it's working, that he is really sitting inside and observing what is happening. And more radiation comes, and the related heat permeates, and the subjective mind becomes more and more comprehensive, meaning the second light is on, the second candle is on, objective and subjective. These are the 2 candles which are needed, basically. And as work proceeds, the radiations contained in the body cells as also the active heat coming through your respiration, they try to come together. And the spleen in you, it releases the active heat. It releases the active heat. Spleen is a very, very, very important organ from the standpoint of a master of wisdom. The importance of spleen is not yet realized by the modern medical science. His spleen is active. You develop good vitality because the life force that it releases, the life force, most of you may have known from the books, it enters into us. It's not that we have a limited quantity of life force. Life force daily enters into us through the morning rays of the sun. Especially the golden light of the sun brings abundant life force. And your effective breathing brings it into you. That's why exposure to golden light is recommended in the morning hours and in the evening hours. And then utilize those hours for a lot of breathing and doing this practice of prayer or meditation, so that abundant life force enters into you. As the life force enters into you, it moves around a triangle in your body. There are 2 points on either side of the shoulder blades, and then there is the spleen. Between these 3 points, the life force circulates itself in a triangular manner. And then the food that you take in, the water that you take in, also adds further to the life force. As much as the spleen gets strengthened with the abundant life force that you are receiving, it releases its own active heat. The active heat released from the spleen and the latent heat released from the body cells develops in you the third light, which is called the vital light. The vitality is developed. Concurrently with it, there is also, as much as the unity happens between the active heat and the latent heat, the vital light happens, and there would be excellent assimilation of food. And what is not assimilated is not accepted by the body. Assimilation is very important to nourish the body with the food. If there is good assimilation, there is daily defecation. Where there is no daily defecation, there is no good assimilation. Where there is no good assimilation, there is no vital light acting. Together with these three lights, the subjective, the objective, and the vital, they produce the so-called flame called Kundalini fire. They all converge into the base center. The heat converges into the base center, and the related heat slowly transforms itself into a flame called Kundalini fire. That Kundalini flame or fire, it shoots up to the threshold of the heart and then opens the door in the heart. That's how Raja Yoga path initiates Kundalini fire. We are not doing anything in all these processes. As I said yesterday, all that we are required to do is to sit inside with the help of subjective mind. That's all. We are not causing specially anything to transform the cells. We are not doing anything specially to get in a lot of pranic force in you. It's all a process that is triggered in. A master of wisdom conducts it much more effectively due to his presence. That's where a teacher is helpful. One can also try to do it by himself, but the presence of a teacher is like a catalyst. It enables the activity to happen easier and quicker. So as the Kundalini fire shoots up, it touches the flame, just like in a Petromax light, which I always refer to in my classes. The flame of the Petromax light goes and touches the mantle, and then the mantle is lighted. In olden days, we used to have, the new generation do not know what a Petromax light is. You have to specially go to antique shops, buy it and use it to know what it is. In those days where there was no electricity, the best light available was Petromax light, where we used to pump the flame, and the flame moves up and up, catches the mantle, and the mantle illumines. The illumination of the mantle is far, far, far superior than the illumination of the flame. As between the candlelight and the illumination of the filament of a bulb, there is such a difference. So this is how, process after process, one by one, the lights get kindled. When Kundalini fire emerges and links up to the heart, you are already into initiations. And then the light in the heart, it opens the door, and then there is the effulgence of light coming from the heart as an abundant golden light. Then you would walk in and sit there. This is what is called entering into the first temple. In all this, there are not so many things suggested for practice. One practice you do, others happen with you. Only one practice you do, all others happen with you. That's the beauty. That is why Master CVV said, you do this prayer regularly, leave the rest to me. I will do the rest of the work. Just find time to be regular. When I say Master CVV, please don't mistake me. It is so with every master. Yes. He has added speed to the activity, but every master of Raja Yoga does the same. The presence of the master, insofar as you are able to receive it, by being subjective, helps you to trigger this process of yoga. And all this process is only your observation from within. Yes. You are observing what is happening within. You are not doing anything. A movie goes on within and you are observing like a witness. So that's how the whole process is simplified as compared to the remote past, where they had to do many strenuous exercises to stimulate Kundalini fire. When the Kundalini fire is thus generated, and when that fire shoots up and links to the heart, then the threshold of the heart is opened and you feel the golden light hitting you. That's how one more threshold is opened, which is the fourth light. So these are the four lights that we have to generate, kindle. Thereafter it is a different story. By being regularly in the golden light of the heart, in this manner, in this due order, if you enter the cave of the heart, you stay stable there. You stay stable and you are regularly impacted by that golden light. The impact of the light, earlier it is the impact of the heat, now it is the impact of the light itself. It causes many more transformations to the body, to the cells of the body. The body cells tend to be lighter and lighter, and from out of that, slowly you release a subtle body. It is prepared from this body only. It has to be prepared. It is not there in us. It has to be prepared. Just like a tree prepares a fruit. A tree prepares a flower. The flower is so different in its texture compared to the tree. The fruit is so different compared to the taste of the tree. The taste of the tree is totally different from the taste of the fruit of the tree. The tenderness of the flower of the tree is incomparable to the coarseness of the tree. So like that, slowly from out of this body, the other body is prepared by your long and continuous sittings in the cave of the heart. That's how the golden body, which is called subtle body or etheric body in the books of Master Jwalpur, is prepared. When that body is prepared, it is a body within the body. It's a body within the body. Then it is said that you have gained golden robes. It is vested on you by one single practice. Not hundreds of practices. People mistake that there are so many things to be practiced. What is to be practiced is only one thing. All others are processes which you are not conducting. They are conducted for you. Your effort is 1/10. The effort coming from within is the other 9/10. That's why it is said, the humans complain that it is so unattainable, but it is not really true. It is not really true because we don't do just that one thing. We try to do many other things. But that one thing is important. To do it regularly. To do it if possible long hours. To find the time for it. Full moon meditations, new moon meditations, Dhanishta meditations, Thursday meditations, 11th moon phase meditation. All these are we create opportunities to be more with the same practice, that's all. And those auspicious moon phases, they enable the prayer to happen in a good way, in an easier way and better way. Certain times are more propitious than certain other times. So that's how for the inclined one, every day is important. And some days are more important than the others, so he makes sure that in those days he is more available for prayer. Master CVV calls it a prayer, not even a meditation. He says very clearly, don't think what I give you is a meditation, it's a prayer. For you it's a prayer. What happens is meditation. You pray, meaning you invoke. You consciously invoke, sitting inside, not outside. When he says dip deep as the first mantra, go deep into your being. Sitting there, invoke. And then thereafter visualize what is happening within. When that is regularly done, so many things are revealed. So many transformations happen. And all these transformations culminate into transcendence into golden body. That's the theme of our seminar this time. Yes. The body cells are transmuted, and then thereafter there are transformations resulting in production of Kundalini fire. And thereafter opening of the heart center. And thereafter sitting therein pretty and meditating, because you find the taste for meditation is by far the best than other tastes of life. That's how it is. By being there all the time, exposing yourself to the golden light of the heart, you gain it. It prepares. You are not preparing anything. It is prepared. That's why a lion generally stays in the cave. When you have that kind of a nature, one stays generally in the cave of the heart. Only for obligations vis-a-vis the objectivity he comes out. Solamente. Only to meet the obligations in the objectivity he comes out. Otherwise he prefers to stay in. He loses all his soaring tendency to do everything that he finds outside. Always objectivity is very interesting unless you find the taste for subjectivity. When we are engrossed in objectivity, it sucks us out and we die. Death is because this body is not prepared. The subtle body is not prepared. When it is prepared, the death is to the gross body but not to the subtle. Just like in a peanut, once the kernel is formed inside, the nut is formed, the shell can be taken out. The nut remains. But before the nut is formed, you break the shell, the nut is also broken. The budding nut is broken until the nut forms and separates itself from the shell. Until the chick is formed, the eggshell cannot be broken. So when the shell of the grass body, when it falls off without preparation of this body, we die. But when this is prepared, the death is to the body but not to you, because you have moved into another body. Sitting in the cave of the heart, you gain wisdom without the help of books. And that is fresh, direct wisdom. When it is expressed, they become books. That's how it is. When preference is for prayer and entering into and forming the subjective side of the body, subjective side of the mind, and thereafter regularly sitting within, would enable you slowly through course of time to form this body which is now called third initiation. This is called a second birth in the ancient scriptures. Such ones are called the twice born ones. The books say You are now born in light. Earlier you are born in body of flesh and blood. So this second birth has to happen. For that there is only one single practice. That's how it is. And that practice, once you are into that practice, lot of confusion goes away from us. There are no more doubts. Continue to practice with the first step. That step reveals other steps. And it would lead you to build the initial bridge. The initial bridge is from Mooladhara to the heart. Then there is another bridge from heart to Ajna. And then there is the third bridge, which is called the higher bridge, from Ajna to Sahasrara. The syllabus for humanity is to build this first bridge, which is said to be transcending death. And that has to be carried out without affecting your objective life. No one says that you have to come away from your life of objectivity. Even from most ancient times, it was never recommended that you run away from objectivity to develop subjectivity. You can concurrently work with the two. Discharge your obligations in the objectivity and grow into subjectivity through morning, evening and late night practices. I say late night practices in the sense, when you go to sleep, you can get into this practice, let sleep come when it comes. Let it come. In the meanwhile, we engage with this practice. Offer yourself to the Master. Anyway, you are proposing to get into the bed and sleep. Close your eyes. Offer yourself to the Master. Conduct the process of being within. And observe from within. And if sleep comes, let it come. Like that, 3 times it can be done. And that would not cause any hindrance to our objective activity. You don't have to come away from objective activity. The obligations to the society have to be fulfilled. You have to be engaged responsibly into the objectivity and concurrently conduct the subjective side. Cultivating the subjective side is what is called cultivating the occult side or subtle side of life. Occultism is a method of living 2 lives. One subjective, one objective. That's how every master conducts. He has an occult life and a physical life where he serves the surroundings. It's not that he is totally cut off from the social activity. It is being concurrent. That is how it is. So what is developed through this practice is objective light subjective light, vital light, and Kundalini fire leading to the light of the heart. The light of the heart. In the Vedic scriptures, the objective light is called Vijaya. The subjective light is called Jaya. The vital light is called Prana. The light in the heart is called Pusha. We'll continue in the afternoon for an hour, because the rest of the time from 5 it is planned to present, to give a PowerPoint presentation on Paracelsus. I take 1 more hour in the afternoon to give greater detail relating to formation of 3 lights on the basis of the first light. Forming the other 3 lights is only after gaining the 4th light. It's only light after light. Candle after candle, one can kindle all the 7 lights in oneself. The entire teaching of hierarchy, which is instructive, is the instructive part of it is to build to light the 4 candles. The other is just information about 7 candles. And these lights have to be built one by one. Just dreaming about everything is not reaching. We can dream, see, sitting here about Shambhala, Sagatse and such other things. But there is a way to reach there. Therefore, the immediate practice is to work out these 4 lights, and hence there would be some more detail in relation to these 4 in the afternoon. Thank you so much. Namaskar.